Please, if you can keep it brief. Thanks.
This bill will shut down my nonprofit, and I drove from Jacksonville, so I'd really appreciate a couple minutes. My name is Ryan Smart. I'm the executive director of the Florida Springs Council. We're a small Florida-based nonprofit that specializes in ensuring that the laws you pass here in this room are followed around the state. If this bill passes, I will not be able to do that work because a single loss will mean laying off all my employees and shutting my doors forever. The provision in Section 1 of this bill is known as fee shifting. If you enact fee shifting in Florida environmental challenges, it will have two major impacts. First, it will stop the laws you pass from being enforced. The agencies don't always do a good job permitting. They've approved 99% of the consumptive use permits the water management districts have over the past 20 years. You all have to pass laws and give a lot of money to try to fix that problem while the agencies continue to hand out permits. So they're not doing a perfect job, and it's essential if you want your laws enforced that groups like mine can keep doing our work. Because if not, it's going to mean harm to the Everglades, the Indian River Lagoon, Florida Keys, Central Florida Springs, and our coastal waters across the state. It'll mean more dead manatees and dead panthers. It'll mean more beach closures, and it'll make what the work you do essentially meaningless in this room. But the second impact that I don't think anyone is aware of is that you will be in non-compliance with the Clean Water Act requirements for State 404 delegation. In 2020, Florida assumed the federal responsibility for issuing dredge and fill permits. When you do that, you have to provide the same access to judicial review for permit decisions that is provided by federal courts. EPA is currently adopting rules to ensure that states are following this requirement, and I quote, "A state does not provide for, encourage, and assist public participation in the permitting process if state law or regulation requires that attorney fees must be imposed in favor of any prevailing party or against the losing party, notwithstanding the good faith or merit of the litigant's position. This form of fee shifting would form a barrier to court access for litigants unable to risk an adverse fee award no matter the strength of their case." That is an EPA rule. The EPA is describing exactly the fee shifting provision in Section 1 of this bill. They are telling you the same thing that I am, that the fee shifting provision creates a barrier to court access regardless of the strength of the case, and they are saying that if you do it, you will jeopardize your 404 assumption. Earlier this week, 10 conservation organizations sent a letter to DEP Secretary Sean Hamilton and the Environmental Protection Agency notifying them about this bill, because if it is passed, it will provide a cause of action for us to remove 404 state assumptions of dredge and fill permitting. Pass this amendment because it's the right thing to do, whether you want to protect Florida's environment, you want to protect access to the courts, you want to protect the laws you pass here, you want to protect tax dollars, or you want to maintain state assumptions so you can hand out wetlands dredge and fill permits. If you continue with this bill, you will lose those things. Thank you.
Senator Polsky, you're recognized to close on the amendment.
Madam Chair.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Thank you. And I know time is short, but I do need to respond. And Senator Polsky, thank you for the amendment. Thank you for our conversations on it, and I appreciate the good faith discussion on this. And I respect the opposition to the bill. I respect those who would prefer that this amendment get on, but respectfully, I think some of what we've heard is the quiet part out loud. And what I mean by that is we just heard that an organization could go under if they're not able to litigate in the same manner. You don't hear that very often, and that was an acknowledgement, I think, of a reality of what we're dealing with. And I say that with all due respect, but that's the truth. And the truth is that if they prevail in litigation, they can now recover fees the same way as somebody who prevails on the other side. So it's a two-way street. This is about fundamental fairness and about good faith, not bad faith. Regarding the Clean Water Act compliance, the federal rule that was referenced, the provision that was read, that is not rule yet. That is being contemplated. It is not something that is currently that we have to adhere to as a state. Certainly something that we're monitoring. Obviously, we're being responsible here. We're not trying to be irresponsible, so we will continue to monitor that. This is a process. For those reasons, I ask that we vote down this amendment as a committee, and I'll stop talking because I know time is short.
Thank you. I won't be redundant. The reason that we would go under is, so I've been at the Florida Springs Council for 5 years. We have filed 2 pieces of litigation in those 5 years. We have challenged the Department of Environmental Protection Space and Management Action Plans for outstanding Florida Springs based on a law you all passed in 2016. We won that case in the First District Court of Appeals. I would be recovering massive attorney fees if this law was in place, yet I'm opposed it. The second one is we challenged a permit along the Santa Fe River for a consumptive use permit. The district's rules there say that the water bottler has to be on the permit. The water bottler refused to go on the permit. So the district tried to deny the permit. The water bottler sued the district and said, you can't deny the permit. They ended up in a whole bunch of administrative issues. The judge ruled in favor of the bottler. We worked with the district to get that bottler on the permit, which they eventually did. Again, we changed a substantive change of the permit. We would have won attorney fees, right? This is not, we get nothing. I hope you all realize this. When we go to court for administrative hearings, we win, we get nothing. There is no financial benefit. No one is doing this to get wealthy, right? I could make twice what I do at my job if I didn't go to court. Right, I go to court because it's the only way to make sure the state's environmental rules are followed. And the reason I can't do it is because I can't go up against a $3 billion agency and pay their attorney fees when they're hiring $700 an hour. Nothing to do with us. And we've won twice, but as you know, you can't win every case. Right? We would never bring meritless litigation. The cost for us to go to court is so high. We only do it as a last resort, and we do it to enforce the laws that you all have passed. And you know, if you guys don't want your laws enforced, change the laws. That's all you have to do. Change the laws. Get rid of the environmental laws, then we won't have anything to sue on. But we're bringing good faith litigation, and this will stop it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have